to another cybersecurity Q&A live. Hopefully, again, another great evening with great people, chatting all things cybersecurity and hopefully answering some difficult questions that people might have about cybersecurity. So welcome everyone joining. Another great evening talking all things cybersecurity. Make sure guys you drop any questions you might have in the chat and hopefully we'll have a good chat, answer any of your questions, talk about careers, discuss if you have any questions from some of the videos that you might have seen that are posted about, career changing into cybersecurity, what courses to do, how to develop your skills for the career. Let's spend another hour. What do you mean give me, you have to be specific, Abanis. I keep saying, guys, I want to be very, I think I even posted a video today talking about kind of these things. Cybersecurity is, is not necessarily for everyone. There is the abundance of information is out there clear. I even posted the, check out some of the videos, kind of shared some of the roadmaps, what to do, what skills to build and develop. But, you have to do and get the work. You can't expect people to, give you the full roadmap while you are, not spending time researching and looking into career, what roles you want to do and things like that. Let's see, we got some questions. Josh says, I'm in my second year of cybersecurity. We are starting cyber implementation. What would you do for that? You have to be a bit more specific, Josh. What do you mean by cyber implementation? It could be a plethora of things here. So it could be implementation of specific controls, but, it could be anything. It could be implementation of cyber program. There's a lot of things that goes into cyber implementation. So how does PCAA cert, how good is PCAA cert, says Joe? I don't really know, Joe. I have never heard of PCAA cert. So I think, that says volumes, but let me quickly have a look. Okay. Is that from TCM? I think it must be quite good. I like the stuff that TCM security does. So it's probably good to learn some skills. But, I always say, with some of the certifications, you have to be understanding what you do certificates for. There are certificates that are good to learn skills. And there are certificates good for, job searching. I always say, for example, I've been talking a lot about this lately. Stop chasing certification game. It's not a badge collection sort of, race. You only need kind of for the first job, you probably need one certificate, which is Security Plus. Once you get into the job, then get the employer to train and pay for your certification. Stop wasting money on certificates. You need knowledge. One certificate, probably Security Plus, but then it's all about skills and landing your first role. Once you do that, then train and learn for more things and get employers to pay for your certificates. Is business information technology good for entry to cybersecurity? Yeah, look, anything to do with technology is going to be helpful for you. I always say, even help desk jobs, sysadmin, learning about IT, and, fundamentally, you are going to be securing technology. So learning about tech in any guise is only going to help. How can I build my own botnet? Salva, we're not here to promote bad stuff. It depends what you want to do with the botnet. But I'm sure there are tutorials and things like that. All of these, most of these questions can be, answered during the search. But botnet and stuff like that can very quickly lead to very bad things. Well, have a look, search on Google, there are, I don't remember the specific botnets, but when there is a video on my YouTube how to build a honeypot. And then there is, you can see various kind of botnets that are trying to attack your honeypot. So I'm sure, you can find, tutorial materials on GitHub for, building such things. But don't forget, botnet normally requires a lot of devices. But botnet essentially is, you just ping in from various different IPs, and it's hard to do from one device. What's your advice to learn cybersecurity or full stack? Well, from my perspective, Mads, it's always going to be cybersecurity because I'm in cybersecurity. If I was in full stack, I'd probably say you otherwise, but I think cybersecurity is better. Fred says, I'm a junior network engineer and would greatly value your expert perspective on my CV. Yeah, it's hard with these because I really struggle with time about doing these kind of things. And I think I said that before, we probably can dedicate one of those lives and just looking for CVs and, discussing and talking about, because I mentioned about CV. I mean, a lot of CV writing stuff and a lot of people who write CVs, the biggest problem they do is they list knowledge or skills instead of outcome-based stuff. So you have to, think about examples, how to translate what you've done that helps business and it's outcomes based. How's your consultancy business going? Yeah, it's good. It's good, busy Lord. It's getting busy, especially, that's why I keep talking about you guys building personal brand and doing stuff for LinkedIn. The amount of stuff that comes from LinkedIn, I think, I've been kind of very consistently posting. I think over the last 90 days or so, I think I've got about 1.5 million impressions on the post. So obviously my post been seen by 1.5 million people over the last 90 days. So, it's quite good going. So I've got all kinds of things coming my way. Am I get recruiting for solution architect? I don't have a clue. What does that supposed to mean, Tarex? Do you think network spoofing is outdated? No, until networks exist, the spoofing is always going to be out there. It's just obviously it changes in different guises, and obviously now we have different networks because everyone's and all of the organizations are moving towards the cloud. When would be good time to build your own home lab pertaining to having foundation knowledge? I think, Samira, once you have to have the foundational knowledge. So I always say, you can build it anytime, but you're going to struggle to learn the concepts and know what you're doing. So I always say home lab is the best to do after you kind of done the A+, the network plus, and security plus. So you go with the theory and foundational knowledge. And that's when you kind of you can start playing and, building home lab and exercising and doing some stuff. Some guy in DC forced me to do an DDoS attack to government and CIA website. Come on, Salva. Nobody could force you to do anything. You can decide your own mind. So I don't believe that anyone could force you to do anything. Hi, Julia. Someone says, do you think getting a degree helps getting a job, or do employers care more about experience? Listen, I've been talking a lot about this lately. I really don't think that, degree nowadays in cybersecurity carries a lot of weight. And I've been talking, I always keep sharing the same example. I got my first cybersecurity job after 8 months. So I did my self-learning path. I did A+, network plus, security plus, and 1 Azure cert, and I got my first job in 8 months. Now you're going to do a degree, which is 3 years, but that's no way guarantee you of landing a cybersecurity job. So would you spend 3 years in university versus doing a self-learning path where you can land a job in 9 to 12 months and cut that time by 2 years and probably spending a lot less money? So you guys decide. Is cloud cybersecurity worth to learn? There is no thing as cloud cybersecurity, but cloud security, yes, of course it's worth. All the organizations are moving to cloud. What degree did you do? As I mentioned, guys, I have only done degree once. I've been 7 years into my career, but I did master's degree and I did cybersecurity and digital forensics. T-boy, hello. Can you give me some tips because I want to start a small cybersecurity company? Oh, you have to be specific, Roblox, because I can talk here for 50 minutes. What tips do you want? What do you think about blue team courses? Are they worth it? What do you mean blue team courses? There are millions of blue team courses. Do you mean blue teams online? Or you mean BTL courses? Busy Lord, would you like to go into details about your consultancy? Do you see yourself turning it to a company? Well, it already is a company, Busy Lord. I've already got a registered company. I've got a website and everything. So, the goal of the company is kind of twofold. What I'm trying to do is, obviously, it's virtual CISO, so virtual leadership advice to small businesses, and trying to help, businesses to understand cyber risk, build cybersecurity programs, help them with cyber transformation projects. And also I do a lot of work with cybersecurity companies. So with their go-to-market strategy, with their product roadmap, understand how to build the best products, how CISOs are buying tools, how to align their, strategies to reach and do more sales. Yeah, no problem, Samira. Yeah, Samira, I've been talking, I think I posted a video the other day. I think even today, there's always going to be a journey where, you feel like idiot, you feel like you never know enough, You have to understand you can never learn enough. You just have to persevere and keep going, Once you've done Security Plus, and if you passed it, then obviously you definitely know enough. I always say, there is a learning path that you go on a journey and maybe 3-4 months in, everything's going to start to click. But, it's hard because, you keep going at it and you think like you don't know enough. But you have to, guys, get in the job and then you're going to learn a lot more. Someone says, I'm a senior and I'm going to college to learn cybersecurity. Is there anything else I should do? Yes, you should build a home lab. Anastasio says, I have a question. If I finished pre-security path, cybersecurity 101, and now I'm at 65% on SOC path, level 1, would you think must be my next level? Your next level is to get Security Plus certificates and build a home lab, Anastasio, and then practice the skills. Dan says, thoughts on risk of shadow AI usage within the business? Yeah, it's big. I think shadow AI is going to be a really big thing in the next few years, especially now. You see it around the internet. The Claude bot is doing rounds, and problem with these things, when people do not understand how to secure and use this technology, and they are adopting it left, right, and center, they are creating risks. There are now tutorials how to secure your Claude bot. If you just use default stuff, you open to the internet, you can read all kinds of credentials, your bank information, and that can be exposed. So, there's a lot of dangers with the shadow AI thing coming our way. So need to educate businesses and understand, how to do it better. So obviously we're on a journey. T-Boy says, you inspire me with your video. Thanks, T-Boy. Do you ever come across Gang Hunt 42? Nope. We talked about this. Is AI take over security jobs in the future? No, Terex is not. This is all the marketing nonsense. What has more potential, cybersecurity on cloud or network cybersecurity? You have to understand, guys, there is no such thing, cybersecurity on cloud or network cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is all encompassing. There is no one person that does cybersecurity for network or cybersecurity for cloud. When you do a specific role, you work on everything. If you're a SOC analyst, you could have an organization that is on cloud, hybrid, on-premise, and you security engineering works with cloud and network. So there is no such thing. Do you think new cybersecurity jobs will appear with the evolution of AI, for example, agent manager? Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be an evolution journey. And I always say, AI is not going to replace people, but what's going to happen is people will be replaced by those who can use AI versus those who can't use AI. Mr. Robert says, I'm learning ethical hacking. Is New Horizon in Nigeria and learning network plus security plus pen test. Only writing exams. Okay, good stuff, Mr. Robert. Mib says, how important is RE skills in a field? I'm not sure what you mean by RE. It could probably mean a couple of things. So if you can expand, Mib. Sorry, there's no job. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only writing in CH. Yes, deposit and not pursuing the network plus and going to build a home lab. Yeah, no problem, Samira. And lastly, do you see yourself needing partners, employees? I would be interested in joining. Yeah, Busy Lord, at some point, the problem is obviously I'm juggling now kind of two things, full-time work as well as building my own company. But once I get enough clients, the goal is I have, you might have seen in some of the pictures, I have a vision board here that I built, and it says how my business is going to look like in 10 years. And the goal is to obviously to grow the empire, challenge the big four in consultancy wise, create a cybersecurity investment firm, to create cybersecurity training firm. Already obviously building a cyber leadership course, which I think is going to be amazing for future leaders and CISOs, because we're not going to talk about technical stuff. We're going to talk about communication, influence, storytelling, negative bias, how to speak to the board, and how to translate risks and all of that. I think, which is, it's a really big gap currently in the industry. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to catch up because obviously there's a lot of messages, so be patient. I'm working in managed security service provider aiming to be cloud security. Good stuff, JS. Should I say CEH instead of CompTIA? No. CEH is probably the worst certificate you can have, Mr. Robert, unless you want to go to work for government in US. CEH, I think it's absolutely useless certificate. It's probably the worst you can have. I'm a student going to cybersecurity in college. What should I be doing and what can make me stand? You should be building your home lab, R. Yeah, no problem, Anastasio. User says, does network engineering helps for cybersecurity? Yes, of course. Understanding networks is one of the most important fundamentals in cybersecurity. I'm almost done with my cybersecurity training. Please, how do you recommend I further my path? Build a home lab, Annie. That's the most important thing you're going to do. Are you secretly Scan Hunt 42? No, I have no idea what this Scan Hunt. Do you have to be coding guru to be good at cybersecurity? No, that's absolutely nonsense and myth. And I've got a video prepared soon. I'm going to talk about, do you need to have a Python knowledge in cybersecurity? 90% of the jobs, you don't need any Python or any coding knowledge. Would you recruiters focus on in cyber interview? It's not necessarily recruiters. It's hiring managers. You have to remember that, the one thing is important. And, I think sometimes people get disengaged. They message recruiters. Remember, no company is going to use recruiters for entry-level jobs. Nobody's going to pay for that. So you're going to go straight through HR and hiring managers. But the most important is experience and how you are differentiating yourself by building home labs, by building the skills. How do you know how to use SIEM? Have you used EDR before? Do you know how to do vulnerability management? That's the home lab stuff where you have to showcase and explain the skills that you've learned through home lab. Unless, did you see yourself? Yes, I answered that, Busy Lord. I'm new to cyber security terminology. What's a home lab? What did it do for me? Well, home lab is essentially you're trying to replicate and create an environment such as like a security operations center. So home lab, what you do is you build 3 virtual machines. So you build an attacking machine, a defensive machine that's going to log and be your SOC sort of EDR, SIEM, and then you have a vulnerable machine. So you connect them in a network, and then you can replicate and create attacks, and then you can investigate them and learn how you would work in a SOC. For example, how you investigate various attacks, how you do vulnerability management. That's what the home lab's going to do for you. Reverse engineering. Not necessarily. It's very niche. Reverse engineering is very niche. It's only kind of useful in any kind of malware analysis, in any kind of forensic digital investigation, but not generally like in security, for example, engineering or SOC analyst or GRC roles. That's not really a big thing in cybersecurity. Mr. Robot, I already answered that question like 20 times. Musa, is it possible to get a Security Plus if I only have a laptop at my disposal? Yeah, of course. That's all you need. You don't need anything else for Security Plus. Yeah, exactly. CH, never do that. What are the tools you can use to build a home lab to learn cybersecurity analyst? Well, the main tools what you need, Pragix, is you need a VMware or virtual box, obviously, to create virtual machines. And then you need to install a Kali Linux machine, a Wazoo machine, and then Windows Server. So Kali Linux will have all the attacking tools. Wazoo will have all the defensive, like SIEM and EDR tools. And then you have a vulnerable machine, Windows, who you can attack. Is it possible to land an entry-level cyber role with no IT background but have search and projects? Yeah, of course. I did that, Samira. I you know, that's why I keep talking. I went through the same exact path. I went from zero any technical background, working in physical security. I built my self-learning training path, and in 8 months, I got my first cyber job. Build red teaming and blue teaming lab and do attacks and defense. Yeah, exactly. Would you recommend doing an apprenticeship in an entry IT role instead of going to uni? Yes, of course. That's way better. And you can, as I say, you can short circuit sort of a cheat code going into technology, because you can do an apprenticeship and you actually learn useful hands-on skills, and you actually learn, you know, better than, you know, in most universities, you're going to learn theory. Mr. Robert, you know, what certification should you go? The main certification for you to do is Security Plus. I've got a bachelor's degree, 8 industry certifications, and home lab experience. Can't get a job. Advice? Well, I guess the main two things are here, plastic bag, is your either CV is wrong. Are you getting interviews, or you can't get interviews? Because we can determine a couple of things here. Is either your CV is bad and you can't showcase the skills and knowledge that you have done, or you are just blindly applying to roles. And that's another thing which I've been talking about, guys. You have to be strategic. Once you are ready to apply for jobs, remember this, and I keep talking about this. LinkedIn is the most important thing that you're going to do. But it's not just blindly applying to roles. I keep saying, guys, building personal brand. So message 10 people every single day in the industry that works already, that are one step ahead of you. Ask them how they develop their skills. Talk to them. Message on their posts. That's 300 people a month. These people, you know, show them how you are developing your skills. Show them how you can solve their problems, what they're posting about. That's 300 potential referral friends who can refer you into organizations. Go meet people in the cybersecurity industry events. Network with people. Talk about how are you building your skills and knowledge. You know, I always say, you know, in the very beginning, yes, it's important what you know, but who you know is 10 times more important, because you never know who and when they're going to open the next door for you. Stop just blindly applying. And again, I always say 5 tailored CV applications with a follow-up message to the hiring manager is way more impressive and better than just 100 applications that you say, click, easy apply on LinkedIn. What certifications do you have? Just 99. Oh, I have over 40 certifications, just 99. It took me too long to list, but I have, I have a master's degree in cybersecurity. I have CISSP. I have CISM. I have a bunch of Kubernetes certificates, bunch of cloud security certificates, hacking certificates, all kinds of, I did everything under the sun. But I haven't done any certificates in the last 3 years because I've been, I'm currently working as a CISO in cybersecurity leadership. So, I don't really do any technical certifications now. How can I know how strong I am in cybersecurity studying from online? By going and, trying to pass, for example, Security Plus exam. You can then test your knowledge. Chat with other people who are already in the industry, 𝐃𝐨𝐬. I'm interested in IAM. Ian, then if you're interested in IAM, then have a look. I think Microsoft has a cloud certificate for Entra ID. I would have a look at Okta certificates. I will have a look at SailPoint certificates. These are specifically tool-specific IAM certificates that is really potentially going to help you in your IAM career journey. Yeah, it's going to be hard. But Ian, if as you said, if you want to go to IAM down route, really explore, tool-specific certs. That should help. And I keep saying, guys, what I just talked about, if you heard Ian, it's all about leveraging LinkedIn. It's all about connecting to people, messaging hiring manager. If you apply, please, wait a day or so. Follow up with the message to the hiring manager. Show them how you build your skills and how you're going to add value to the role that they posted. Stop just blindly applying. You have to differentiate yourself from the crowd. Make yourself stand out. What is the difference between cybersecurity and cloud cybersecurity? There is no difference. There is no such thing as cloud cybersecurity, Terex. Fallen AI, what would you recommend for testing security for my websites that are public? Burp Suite. Install yourself a Burp Suite and run Burp Suite scan on public exposed IPs. What would you suggest a 17-year-old be doing outside of school? 17-year-old doing outside of school, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and building a home lab. Also, Metasploitable 2 is good to practice. Yeah, of course. So once you plug in Kali Linux, you run Metasploitable attacks on Windows machine, and then you can intercept the traffic using Wireshark. You can look at attacks from the Zoom machine. That's how you build a home lab. Would you recommend Google certifications as a start? It's okay. I mean, I would prefer you doing A+ or Network Plus instead of Google certificates. Kind of a mixture, a bag of all kinds of things in here. Yeah, basics is very important. Come on. We already answered that. Professor says, why Nmap Wi-Fi deauth -0 is not working anymore like before? I don't know. I don't have a clue, Professor. Do you need good skills to join cybersecurity in GRC when you go for interviews? Well, GRC, I think, is it's kind of a bit less about skills and more about knowledge and understanding how cyber programs are built. Learning frameworks like NIST CSF, NIST RMF. Probably a good cert to have is ISO 27001 lead auditor. Understanding how security policies are written, how to do risk management. So there is a great book called How to Measure Anything in Cybersecurity Risk. So GRC is more, I guess, about knowledge than skills. Play a plastic bag. Yeah, that's a good name. Would you think about security consulting at Big Four? I'm really not a fan, Fayez. I think Big Four. I think there's a problem in Big Four because you are put in very, very small niche. There's a bunch of graduates who are, have been and done Deloitte audits, and they send a bunch of people and a bunch of graduates who have no clue what they're doing, and are charging extortionate amount of money. It could be a lucrative career, but you are exposed to very small niche things in because company is so big, so you are I guess, exposed to a lot of things, and Big Four normally get a really bad rep. Someone who understands network cyber basics, what would you suggest I do at 17? If you understand network cyber basics, get yourself a one certificate such as Security Plus, and then build a home lab and actually practice and build skills. What would you recommend for testing security? We already answered this. Where does Kerberos fit in Kubernetes? I don't think Kerberos is used in Kubernetes. Kerberos is an authentication method in kind of Windows operating systems. It doesn't really fit within Kubernetes. Is it true that cybersecurity is frustrating? Yeah, it can be. It depends where you end up in what kind of company. But yeah, any career can be frustrating. How can I know when I'm done studying cybersecurity online? You're never going to be done. That's one thing for sure. Kokomo says, I've done MSc Masters in Cybersecurity and ISO 27000, but could never land an interview. Well, if you can't land an interview, that means there is a problem with your CV, Kokomo. That's one thing, because there's always this. There's a problem. There's if you can't land interviews, there's a problem with CV and the way you're applying, and being not using prescriptive applications. If there's a problem with interviews, then there's your skills, and vice versa. So obviously, if you can't land interviews, you need to update and change your CV and be more showcasing your skills with outcome based instead of listing the tools and stuff that you learned. Justin and Anna, for someone who wants to be a CISO, would you recommend CISO from EC Council to them? I don't really looked into this just 99, so I can't really recommend it. And again, the one thing, and I see this all the time, everyone's talking about it. You have to remember, guys, no certificate is gonna sort of propel or advance your career. It's the knowledge and skill and your thinking that's really the most important. So, reading books is going to be way more beneficial to you becoming a CISO, I think, just 99 than just getting a certificate. So stuff like CISO Compass, there's a few books like that. Sorry, I just forgot. There's some YouTube stuff as well. Is it better to have a very technical portfolio than certificate? Yes, exactly, Arpavar. Way better. How to hack a Wi-Fi? Jump into Kali Linux, Farzan, and have a look at, there's a Wi-Fi hacking tool. I don't remember what's it called, but yeah, you can do that way. What is OSINT? OSINT is open source intelligence. How to hack a hacker's website? No. What cybersecurity technologies can be applied to a website selling secondhand goods? Web application firewall is probably the most important thing that you can apply. Hello world, print. Hey, Toasted. Web Suite. No, not Web Suite. Burp Suite. All in AI. Is this worth it? It depends, Danzo, what your career aspirations are. If you're looking to go into management and kind of senior leadership roles, then yes. Otherwise, not necessarily. If you're trying to stay technical, CISP is not really worth it, I think. Learn AI, which is very important. Potentially, yes. Can I get anywhere with a 2-year degree and Community Security Plus certificate? Yes, you can, KN, but only if you have skills. Best CMDR. I don't know if there is one, but CrowdStrike is pretty good. Microsoft is pretty good. Azure Sentinel. Bug Bounty best tool name. I have no idea. We written a book. No, I'm definitely going to write a book, Arpawar. It's just about finding time. So now I'm doing a lot of other things. I'm building cybersecurity leadership course and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm going to definitely write a book at some point, but just carving out time. Evil Jinx is powerful. I assume that's for Wi-Fi hacking. Do A levels really matter if I want to get into CS? Not necessarily. I'm thinking of getting into IAM and networking. What do you recommend? Nana, you should do stuff like Okta certs, SailPoint certs. There is a Microsoft IAM cert. Hello, I'm Silar. I don't have enough money to buy draining crypto license. What the hell does that mean? Between doing Try Hack Me and building a home lab, which is best? Definitely building a home lab 10 times. No, I cannot teach you guys. Imagine I get hundreds of messages every day. How am I supposed to teach every single person? I do these lives instead of teaching, so trying to answer your questions and help you. But you guys need to teach yourself. I can't teach you. You can only teach yourself. What website can teach me cybersecurity to professional level? I have no idea. I would like to start cybersecurity. Do you have mentorship for starters? No, I do not. I'd love to spoof everything. Good, Professor. So I'm interested to start a 3 years Bachelor for Cybersecurity. Do I think what? Yeah, Kali Linux is great. What else was there? Yeah, no problem. Arparvar, how to spoof phone numbers. I'm not giving out information how to do bad stuff. Is there any website where I can learn hacking for free and get learning resources? Yeah, Hack the Box. Farzan. Should I do Google my accounts recently switched from Windows to... I don't have a clue what that means. Onagochi is good to capture handshakes. Cool. Got a second interview. What? Any tips? Think about things like, a couple of things for your, second interview, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐫𝐢. I'd say, think about, what can you explain how you investigate, difficult incidents, how you would investigate, incidents from, how do you prioritize number of incidents? For example, if there's 2 incidents, how do you prioritize vulnerabilities? Think about, what would you do? How you follow, the attack path, these kind of things are going to be important, and don't forget, sometimes it's good to say that you don't know something, but the most important thing that you can do if you don't know something is research or tell them where you're going to find the answers. And once the interview is finished, email them and tell them what the answer was to the questions that you didn't know. Hey, Jay. Hey. Want to learn first to jump into cyber. A+ network plus security plus. For SOC level 1, after sec plus. 𝐬𝐮900 try hack me ongoing daily. Build 3 home learners still. What's next? Next is keep going. Building home lab, building skills, and applying for jobs. That's what's next, Cigar. I don't know. I have 45 GB storage and a virtual box and Linux installed. I'm unable to install Windows. When you need to get more storage, then I assume. Did you compare Packet Tracer versus GNS3 for home lab? I don't really know what is GNS3, so I can't really help you, Jay. Where are you teaching any other platform? No, I'm not teaching any other platform, Farzan. Why are you spamming the chat as well? Is it a real threat that 3G, 4G, 5G is encrypted, but 2G is not? You can't use 2G now, I think. 2G is dead, and I think 3G is going to get deprecated very soon. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Can I get into cybersecurity without a degree? Yes, of course you can, Jonito. Can you help me to get Professor Mess's first A+ with? What do you mean, can I help you get Bristol? Go on YouTube, it's there. What's the roadmap for cybersecurity? Go on my in my profile, you'll find there is a video there for the 6-month roadmap for cybersecurity. Is there any point transitioning into a tech career coming from finance compliance? Of course. I transitioned my tech career 10 years ago when I was 30, and I think that's the best thing I ever done into my career. So yeah, I think tech careers are great. Farzan, I already answered, so stop spamming the chat. People want to ask questions, and you're just posting the same crap. How do I get cybersecurity job? Apply for one. How else? Which country is the best for learning cybersecurity? Country doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. There is no best country for learning cybersecurity. Yeah, I mean uni. Probably the best is it depends where you are. In university wise, I think WGU or was it, or no, yeah, WGU in US. How to improve as an offensive consultant as a 22-year-old? Well, keep researching, keep learning various attack techniques. Research about various attacks that are currently happening. Can you replicate? Can you understand? And use all of the tools like Metasploit, Burp Suite, and stuff like that. That's kind of the things you want to probably practice and do. Hi, Blue Teamer. Hi. I'm in UAE, cybersec enthusiast, precisely so kind of Blue Team. Good stuff, Blue Teamer. Good stuff. What about IAM, MHN? What's question? Any advice? Any advice for what, Blue Teamer? You have to be specific what you want to know. I'm not rude. I'm just trying to calm people down with this spamming the chat. Can Kali Linux work well when installed on Windows 10 using a VM? Yeah, of course, 𝐾𝐨. Yeah, I've done it, and it works well. As it all depends how much RAM you got. So the only stumbling block is, if you got a very small amount of RAM, that can kind of trouble it. If someone has IP, can they find where I live? They can't find precisely where you live, but they can find within an area. Yes, Jag. How long to get sec plus from 0? Johnny, I would say there was one important thing, Johnny. You can't go from 0 to sec plus. If you got no technical knowledge, you have to go A+, network plus, then sec plus. You don't necessarily need certificates for A+ and network plus, but you need to have the knowledge before you go to sec plus. But I would say 3 to 4 months to cover all of it. Yeah, no problem. I'm a fresher and I want to learn about cybersecurity, but don't know where I need to start. You start, Hazel, from CompTIA A+, CompTIA Network Plus, and then CompTIA Security Plus. Cover the theory. And then you can jump into practical skills. What else? What's happening? Best password hacking tool name. John the Ripper or Hashcat? Any project recommendations? Yes, build your home SOC lab. Kali Linux, Wazoo, and a vulnerable Windows server. That's the best thing you can do for, building a project. And then you can practice, you can install OpenWAS to do vulnerability management. You can run attacks with Metasploitable, use Wireshark, and stuff like that. So yeah, and Wazoo is not only SIEM. Wazoo can be an EDR as well. So you can look how attacks happen by network point through Wireshark. You can look how attacks look at EDR point from Wazoo and look in the SIEM and stuff like that. I'm learning for a test about e-government tips. I don't know. I don't work with e-government stuff, so can't really help you, GB. Do paid certification matter a lot more than your hands-on projects for Soclar? No, Dan, they do not matter. I always say, I would say if you ever do just one certificate, do Security Plus, because that appears on pretty much every single job spec. So it ticks the HR box, it ticks, kind of the theory box. But the projects, and then after that, projects and skills are the most important. Hey, Brazilian here. Hey, welcome. What is the roadmap for cybersecurity, 𝐾𝐨𝐺? 𝐾𝐨𝐺, go to my profile. There is a video I've shared, 6-month roadmap for cybersecurity. Just check it out. What do you think about Sierra? I think Sierra is quite cool, Tyler. I looked at it because I'm building a DLP program currently. So I think Sierra is doing some cool stuff. Sierra does DSPM, so data security posture management. And then if you combine that with DLP, it enforces and classifies all your data and actually can enforce and empower DLP to be a very powerful tool. So yeah, Sierra is doing some great stuff because he's stealing all the Varonis customers and stuff like that. So yeah, Tyler, Sierra is good. How to access the dark web safely? Use a VPN and go through Tor browser. Explain tagged and untagged ports. I don't really remember. I've done it long time ago, networking stuff. But I think tagged ports are kind of dedicated to specific services, whereas untagged, can be used for kind of anything. But it's difficult because of lack of IT background. Yeah, it's going to be difficult at Yomo. But you need to, the one thing, you can't just do what you're doing in a course. You have to do a lot of extracurricular activities and work outside of the course. Let me have a look as well. Also catch up on YouTube stuff. Okay, cool. How to use this tool in Kali Linux? Well, I can't explain here because, Farzan, I'm not going to talk about, how to use these tools. Best privilege escalation tool. There is not really a tool for privilege escalation, Matthias. It's about finding ways and routes where you can elevate your permissions, but I don't think there's kind of a tool for that. It took me, Fred says, it took me 3 months for Core 1 and Core 2, 2 more months for Network Plus. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, everyone learns in different pace, and I think, you don't need to rush in order to kind of absorb the material and learn. Sometimes, the people showing these boot camps and you're saying you're going to have a job in 6 weeks is absolute nonsense. Yes, you can pass, these certificates, but are you going to memorize anything? Are you going to learn the actual skills? What happens if SQL injection is rammed up me a hole? I don't have a clue what that's supposed to mean. Need help understanding? I think I already explained that, I want to pass Security Plus in 30 days. Is it possible? Of course it is. Get Jason Dion's Security Plus course on Udemy. Get his 6 practice exams. So before you start Security Plus, do 1 exam and see where your biggest gaps are in knowledge. Then you can dedicate specific targeted learning based on the gaps in your knowledge, and then do practice exams every week. If by 30 days you can get 80+% on practice exams, you're ready to go for the real deal. Can I work for FBI from another country? No, you definitely cannot. Actually, I'm presently in sales and want to transition into CyberSec Blue Team by November 26. Yeah. Blue Teamer, I think that's absolutely possible. Giving yourself 10 months, you can definitely get there. And I'm fully behind you and support you, and, keep coming back, keep, learning, coming with fresh ideas and questions, and we're going to help you get there. What's the best strategy to get hired for as a fresh MSc CyberSec graduate with OSCP in Germany? I will say this, Demon. Just because you have a master's degree and, well, it depends what you want to get hired for. Even if you got master's degree and OSCP, I assume you're trying to go for pen testing jobs. And I keep saying to people, pen testing is not an entry-level cybersecurity job. You have almost 0 chances of landing cybersecurity or pen testing job just because you have a degree. You need experience. And that's why I always say, go any other job and build skills and knowledge, and then you can transition if you really want to go into pen testing. Currently undertaking CSA by EC Council. Okay, cool. Cybersecurity oversaturated. No, it's not. I think it looks oversaturated, but there's a lot of people who have no clue what they're doing going into cybersecurity. And I think, there are plenty of jobs. Dark web is just basically a kind of hidden network, as Matthias says. It's an onion kind of network where all the the bad guys hang out. That's it. There's nothing special. Yeah, as I said before, Adeomo, you need to then go back to the basics. Go and buy yourself A+ Udemy course. Learn all of the background IT stuff. Go and watch Network Plus videos. Network Chuck. You need to catch up and learn some of that knowledge. Just doing the master's degree, it's not enough. You have to do a lot work. Is the best way to secure a future in cybersecurity networking with employers early on in your career? Yes, absolutely, Mohammed. Networking via LinkedIn, going to cybersecurity events, meeting people, because I always say, who you know is going to be way more important than what you know in your career. Any other OS that can use that is similar to Kali Linux? I'm sure there is, but I haven't played around with any other attacking OSs, but I'm sure there are more than Kali Linux pinchers. Any tips for applying without having actual job experience but have strong projects? Yeah, the most important thing, Dan, is you need to tailor your CV and explain how the projects that you've done translated in learning the skills and the knowledge that are gonna be equivalent to having got experience. So, if you done, for example, vulnerability management, explain how you learned to do vulnerability management, how you can ascertain and find the most riskiest vulnerabilities, how you can help business prevent those vulnerabilities from, and prioritizing, and how you can help business to be secure. So it's all about doing that. Is ISC2CC good? No, absolute crap. Oh yeah, there you go. Parrot is another, I think, OS for attacking. Which are the best free books? Guys, stop. I keep seeing that the same thing. Which are the best free courses? Which are the best free books? Anything that's free is never going to be the best. Everything that's free is crap. That's why it's free. You don't need to spend a lot of money, but you need to get stuff like Security Plus. You need to get Home Labs, which are free. There are loads of free stuff, but there is no free books that are best. If you want to have a good book, you need to buy a book. You can't get free books. Do you recommend degree apprenticeships? Yeah, it's a potential another thing. Apprenticeships, yes, can be a good way in. How important is automation and agentic AI for newbies and experts right now? I think it's fairly important. I always say AI is not going to replace people, but people who don't know how to use AI is going to be replaced by those who can use AI. So you don't need to become an expert overnight, but you definitely need to learn how to secure AI, how to use AI, how we can translate and help businesses understand what are the risks of AI adoption. So that's the most important things that you're going to do, Abhishek. What else was there? What are your perspective on ThreatIntel? Yeah, ThreatIntel, Skibidi, was it Skibidi Initazi? ThreatIntel is very important. There are, but you don't necessarily need to spend thousands of dollars and pounds to get the most expensive ThreatIntel tools. I set up loads of ThreatIntel, for example, just using Teams and doing RSS feeds from all kinds of websites and Hacker News and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's important to know what are the new types of attacks, what are the new types of tools and techniques attackers are using. Yeah, ThreatIntel is really important if you want to defend. What can someone do to get into the dark web? What do you mean? What can do? You just download what's it called? Tor browser, and you can get into dark web. How can I hack NASA using HTML? You can go to prison hacking NASA. Currently doing a degree in it and have a placement with GCHQ. Good stuff, Samia. Good to know. We already answered that. Go with Arch. I assume that's another attacking OS. How can a hacker tamper with signed token? Well, they can re-sign it. They can steal a signed token. There are various ways. I haven't looked deep into that, 𝐸𝐿, to give you a proper answer, but maybe someone else can help you with that. How is cyber different to networking? Well, networking is is part of IT. Networking is how computers communicate. Cyber is about how we can protect networks, computers, and any technology. So therefore, it's different. Networking is all about connections. It's all about switches, firewalls. It's all about network. Essentially, is a communication sort of protocol that computers use to talk to each other. That's how internet works. So that's networking. Which certification is better for SOC analysts, CompTIA Security or CompTIA Networking? There is no better coast. You have to know the knowledge from both of them. But if you just do one certificate, Security Plus is more important. But you can't go one without the other. We already answered. Is SC200 good point to start for SOC? Mr. Brownman, if you haven't done anything technology-wise, then no. SC200 is, I say always to the people, if you've done A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, if you want to do another cert, SC200 is good because it's specifically SOC analyst roadmap with using Microsoft Security Toolset. But again, it's not a necessity. Can Cisco network engineer transition to cybersecurity? Yeah, of course. You already got, a lot of networking knowledge. So all you need to do is upskill yourself on security plus knowledge and then build a home lab and acquire the skills that's going to allow you. But you got the basics, the fundamentals already there. So that's a great route in. Well, I have to correct you. I see you too. I see you. CC is not free. You can't get a CC certificate from ISC unless you pay a $50 annual fee. And that's how they hook you in. They tell you it's free, but you're going to have to pay $50 every year to keep that certificate. So it's not free. How can hackathon, we already asked, what's your opinion about AI? I think AI is great benefit and it's going to be a lot helpful, but I think, we shouldn't scare and think that AI is going to replace people. AI is a good help. It can sift through vast amounts of data. It can empower teams to remove the burnout and stress and, sifting through vast amount of logs and, investigating hundreds of incidents per day. So it can do the base level stuff. And I think that's why AI is great. So it's like GitHub private rooms are the best way to explain and showcase the skills on those projects. Dan says, yes, but not only that. I would say, Dan, you need to supplement and post at least, I would say, 3 to 5 times per week on LinkedIn. So you completed a Try Hacking Room post on LinkedIn. What you learned from this room, share the room, the passing. You finished the Security Plus lesson. Show the world how are you developing the skills and learning. Just GitHub is not necessarily visible. LinkedIn, your whole network sees what you're doing. So, adding hiring managers into your network and showing them how are you developing your skills. That's a perspective that you can't neglect and work without. You need to know networking before how to secure it. Yes, exactly. We already answered Trentel. Talk about 3 OS system and saying 3 don't have worthy. No, I'm talking about 3 certificates, not about OS systems. Which are the best books for SOC? I don't really know about any SOC book. Hamza says, hey, I'm from Oman. Welcome, Hamza. Unix is good to get in dark web. Yeah. What's your thoughts on protection on remote access, quick support links being sent to employees? Well, you need to have a good EDR, Tom, that can, investigate and analyze the links before they are being opened. You need to have a good email security gateway to prevent these crap to being sent to employees. There are a number of tools, it's not kind of one thing. That's why we always say cyber defense is like an onion. You keep adding layers that each going to help and protect. I have maths and comp sci degree and can't get a job. Well, if you just have that, then of course you aren't going to get a job. It's impossible. There's no chance you're going to get a job in cybersecurity just by having a degree. If you got Security Plus and you got Home Labs, the next thing to do is, once you acquire enough skills, apply for jobs. What do you think about EC Council CH? No, CH is the worst certificate you could do, Hamza. I already answered that. You probably just joined. My niece is doing cyber in Aston Uni first year. What shall she do? She should, Musa, build a home lab and develop skills, because once she gets that degree, there's no way she's going to find a cybersecurity job. So unless she's going to build her skills and do extracurricular activities outside just university, and obviously network and meet people and grow her LinkedIn profile and build a personal brand, that's how she can do it. Please, can you advise me? Advice on what, Neo? I'm in a SOC internship. Should I get BTL1 or CYSA? Definitely BTL, tap. BTL 10 times better than CYSA. Is it worth nothing in UK market, only have value in US? Yeah. And only have value in US specifically for, I think, government jobs. I think still CH is kind of old relic that's still around. Which is the best programming language to run in cybersecurity? Python. But it's not a necessity, again, tech marks. Python is only for security engineering, for pen testing. You don't really need Python for kind of anything else. cybersecurity industrial is a good job market. Yeah, no name. Yeah, I think there's very few people that go into that industry, so it's always going to be a good skill set, a good route to go down. There's a lot of, manufacturing plants. There's a lot of OT systems that, is going to help. I don't know, Hamza. I'm not in Middle East, so I can't tell you. You have to search jobs in Middle East and see if it appears on a job spec CEH. I know little to nothing in IT, but cybersecurity is something that interests me. How can I start? Mr. Bensbout, simple, as I always say. CompTIA A+, CompTIA Network+, CompTIA Security+, and then Home Labs, try hack me, building personal brand, and building a CV, and that's how you go. Do you rate Cisco certifications? Not necessarily the bean. I think, for example, the CCNA, it's a great cert, but again, it's specifically for Cisco hardware, and it's overkill. In cybersecurity, you don't need to be network experts. Yes, you need to learn networking, but stuff like CCNA and CCNP, I think, is overkill. If you want to go into network engineering, yeah, by all means. Would you think Bachelor of Computer Science is necessary to claim an entry level in cybersecurity? No, definitely no degree is necessary in cybersecurity. I'm gonna go, but if any questions, I'm happy to help. You can, yeah, good stuff. Good to see that, I see you can offering help people as well. Good stuff. Yeah, no problem. Build your home lab, GitHub, and put projects on. Yes. As a purple teamer, but I don't have any certificate till yet, but I want to start from red teamer. Thoughts on Darktrace and Fortinet as a companies? Fortinet has some good stuff. I really don't rate Darktrace. I think Darktrace has some shady tactics with marketing. Darktrace was, once good, but Darktrace, I don't think they have built any tools themselves. They acquired all of the products, and they don't invest into R&D. All they invest is sales. They got, I think, 80% of their workforce is sales. So any tool that they buy, once it's been good, it becomes crap over the next few years. I think Darktrace in kind of cybersecurity industry is becoming a laughing stock. Would you specialize in cybersecurity? I don't specialize in anything, Joy. I'm in cyber leadership, so I'm a CISO, but I've done every single role there is, from SOC analyst to security engineering, cloud security architect, did pen testing strategies, built DevSecOps frameworks, so, I've done everything. No, it's not necessary to have more than one PC, TechMax. No problem giving answers. No, I do not mentor people because I don't have time for that, StoneGee. Best course or cert on Hack the Box? I don't think there is a best cert. Hack the Box is not necessarily, I think they start doing certs, but I wouldn't say they're the best. But yeah, guys, that's going to be my time. I have to shoot. It's been a pleasure, as always. I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to drop in an event when I'm going to do the next live stream. It was always a pleasure to answer and help you and guide you and answer your questions. Keep grinding, guys. Keep persevering. That career change and job is waiting for you. But as I say, you have to learn. You have to network. You have to build a personal brand, build a home lab, build skills, showcase how you're building those skills. And if you persevere and if you work really hard, you can end up in cybersecurity in 9 to 12 months. It's not an overnight success, but you can get there. So keep working hard. I'm going to see you in the next live, potentially tomorrow or Friday. Until then, have a great day. I'm going to love you and leave you guys.